So the status of the U.S. Postal Service has been top of mind for so many Alaskans, and really has gained national attention as there's so much discussion now about increased participation in the electoral process, voting by mail, and what the additional pressures of that mail volume might bring to a postal service that is struggling. I have long been a supporter of our United States Postal Service and the value that they bring to America, particularly a state like Alaska that is so rural, small populations, small communities. So many of our communities rely on the Postal Service for everything from their mail and their bills to their pharmaceutical prescriptions that come over the mail, to really goods for their household. We see in Alaska a very unique program through the Postal Service, and that is bypass mail that helps to alleviate the high cost of living in so many of our rural communities. We see a benefit from the Postal Service that perhaps is not readily apparent in the lower 48, in cities where people are able to communicate instantly through the technology, their smart devices. They've all got access to broadband, the internet. It's different for us, and so for us in Alaska, supporting the Postal Service, ensuring that it is sustainable, has been a priority for me and a priority for the entire delegation. So I admit the Postal Service is struggling right now. Financially, they're struggling, and the impact from COVID has been a challenge for them, as it has been a challenge for many businesses. I think it is important to just state for the record that the taxpayer is not supporting the Postal Service insofar as direct appropriations. The federal government provides for mailing, for funds to mail overseas ballots to those who are serving in the military, and support for mailing for the blind. Beyond that, the federal support is very limited. So I think it's important, because I hear repeatedly that the Postal Service is a drain on the Treasury. That is not the case. Now, having said that, the fiscal situation of the Postal Service is troubled right now, and so how we can address that is part of the discussion that is at play right now. The reforms, the efficiencies that we're looking to. I think we all want our government agencies to be efficient, certainly want the post office to be as well, but we also recognize that in order to meet the mandate for universal service, sometimes it's going to cost a little bit more to deliver a product in a place like Alaska than it might in other parts of the country. So how we work to reduce costs, build efficiencies, but again, ensure that universal service continues in a reliable and affordable way is part of the goal and the outcome here. So there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot going on in the news right now. We've got a new Postmaster General who was not appointed by President Trump, as some might think. But there has been a great deal in the news because the timing of reorganization is coming almost concurrent with the elections, and that has caused a level of controversy that I think is fair and understandable. You saw the Postmaster General just a couple days ago put the brakes on the reform initiatives that they were looking at that would have consolidated certain sorting operations, that would have removed some of the blue boxes. And so I think it's important, again, for folks to know that those have been halted. For us here in Alaska, we have not seen the same impact to the restructuring, I think, that is being discussed in the lower 48. I had a long meeting with our postmaster here in the state of Alaska, Ron Haberman, not only an individual who who knows and understands the operations from the top level. He started his career decades ago as a mail carrier. He knows it all the way through the ranks and has lived in our small rural communities. So a great understanding as to how important the U.S. Postal Service is to us in Alaska. So what I want Alaskans to hear from me is my commitment to ensuring that we have a strong U.S. Postal Service, strong and enduring into the future, meeting that requirement of universal service to Alaskans and to others across the country. I also want to ensure that the message about the security of voting by mail is one that is understood and respected. Voting by mail is not new. It's not something that has come about in just this election cycle. There are at least 4 states that vote entirely by mail. Here in Alaska, the city of Anchorage, in the municipal elections, is voting entirely by mail. But even before this, we have had an absentee vote by mail program for decades that has proven to be reliable. The integrity of the process has not been called into question, and it is one where there is no excuse needed. In other words, I can request an absentee ballot for any reason whatsoever. Maybe I'm sick, maybe I'm traveling, maybe I just don't want to go out in the ice and the snow in November. You don't have to have a reason. You just request it from the Division of Elections, and an absentee ballot will be mailed to you, and you can then use the resources of the Postal Service to return that for counting in the election. And so I know there has been a great deal of chatter out there that suggests that somehow or other participating in the election by absentee vote by mail is somehow or other not going to be safe. It's not going to be fair, that somehow or other the process is corrupted. I don't believe that is true. I think states like Alaska have demonstrated it not to be true. And so I would encourage Alaskans, vote the way that you feel most safe. If you feel that going to your polling place in person is the way that you want to ensure the integrity of your ballot, that is where you should be on election day. If you feel that for your safety and your security, you want to vote in the privacy of your home and mail in your absentee ballot, do so knowing that the United States Postal Service is there. They are integral to the integrity of our election and to the integrity of just a commercial way of communication. So I stand up strongly for our Postal Service, the men and women who deliver our mail and our parcels every day, critical workers, essential workers, particularly in this time of COVID. I thank them for what they're doing, and I thank them for ensuring that we have integrity within our systems, including the U.S. mail.